Hi and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah Macintyre. And it's a funny old thing because I almost feel like I've forgotten how to podcast host because I have just come back from the most incredible 5 nights with the most amazing people at the Peace and Practice Retreat. And I hope that it was as life-changing for them as it appears to have been for me, because I'm really struggling right now with integrating back into life, reality, food shopping, muggles, things that needed to be done. It was incredibly profound. And I'm going to push aside my usual fighting at things like this and say I'm incredibly proud of myself because it was my first 5-night retreat. Obviously, I do 3 nights in the Folkestone Hotel, but this was a new experience in a new place, and Amanda was a great help, and together we pulled it off. So fantastic experience, and I'm really, really proud of myself, and lots of learning for next year when we're away for a week, where I might need to be carried out on a stretcher because I was absolutely done in after this one, but in a good way. That feeling of having worked really, really hard and just loving it, just loved it. It was such a privilege for me to watch and see the difference in the attendees from the day they arrived to the day that they left, and see the transformation in their energy and their experience and how they are feeling. And yeah, very, very proud of us all. And it was a fantastic group. So I feel really, really blessed. #blessed. #lucky. But I do. I might be mocking it, but I really, really do. So we're winding down now. I'll be mentioning this probably in every episode I record between now and the end of July, because season 3 of the Mediumship Matters podcast is coming to an end. And I will be taking a break in August, as I do most years, and coming back with season 4 in September, because I did so many episodes. We're more than ripe and ready for a new one. And I really need you guys to get in contact with things that you would like covered, themes you would like looking at, anything that you think is missing. Please, please, please do take a moment to send me your feedback. And you will also see in the show notes for this episode, there are 2 opportunities to vote for the Mediumship Matters podcast in the British Podcast Awards and the International Podcast Awards. And I would be so very grateful if you could take the time to vote. It would really make a massive difference to me. And I know it's boring. And I know it's just another thing you have to do. And I know you have to give away your email address to do it. But if you would consider that, I'll be very, very grateful. So thanks. Right, we're going to begin here. I think I've got some listeners who want some cards pulled.
Spirit guides, or pull me a card. I'm on my mediumship journey at the moment, development. And it's been going okay, but lately I feel quite stuck. I've been getting a lot of signs when I ask for them, quite big signs actually, like really obvious in your face signs. However, when I sit down quietly and try and connect with spirit, I just feel like I'm drawing a blank, and I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to tell me something, but I'm not picking it up. Anyway, so I was wondering if you could maybe give me some guidance if possible. Love your podcast. Also loving the school as well. Keep up the good work. And yeah, thank you very much. Judy, bye.
Okay, so I just want to be clear that I did not cut the beginning off that message. And if you're that listener, I haven't got your name, so I will just address you as dear listener. So thank you very much, dear listener. I don't know why Spirit or whatever cut the information off at the beginning, but they did. Okay, I've pulled you 3 cards. We have got the Sun, a time of great joy and success, the 9 of Cups, wishes come true, and the 5 of Cups focusing on the negative. Spirit don't hold punches, do they? And this is exactly what it says on the tin. And when I was listening to your message, I was really feeling that this is something that everybody has to go through. I think at the beginning, when we sit on our own and start communicating with spirit, their presence feels so, for want of a better word, alien to ours, that it's a really big whammy. It's a really big feeling. You can't help but have your socks knocked off by spirit's presence. And then we get used to it. Our vibration rises and we become more compatible naturally with spirit. So it's not such a big feeling when they step forward. They're still there, but we feel them less. And that is what I feel is happening with you, and the cards support it. Now, one of the things that I will say is when I connect to spirit on my own, it's a very different experience to when I connect with a sitter where there is a need. So the need from a sitter normally expands the reading and expands the energy and brings more va-va-voom, for want of a better expression, to the experience. When I'm on my own, I'm communicating with my spirit guides, my loved ones who I communicate with an awful lot. They don't feel that different to me because I speak to them often. And my imposter syndrome is right in full force. So you're getting the signs, they're letting you know they're there. And this really has that feeling of wanting you to know you're not actually doing that badly at all. So if you feel stuck, the way to get past that is to put yourself in some big, unexpected, scary situations to prove to yourself that you can actually do it. So this now might be the time for you to consider signing for the next level of spirit work, putting yourself out there in practice situations. I know you've said you're working on the school, so hopefully you're going to join all of the groups there, and that will give you opportunities to work with other students and prove to yourself that you can absolutely do this. But you've got the Sun and the 9 of Cups, so that is spirit letting you know that everything is fantastic. And if you can hear it in the background, even Gloria's agreeing with you and barking away there. Bloody dog. So thank you very much for your message, listener, and I hope you like your reply. Let me know.
Hi Hannah, it's Kelly here. First of all, just a huge fan of the podcast and all your social media content. Just love all the advice and tips you give everyone. So thanks very much for that. You said on your podcast yesterday about sending you through a message to ask advice from your spirit guides and that you'd be able to pull a few cards and maybe answer some questions. So my question for you would be, how can I get closure on some past events that have been troubling me? I'd really like to know how I can move on and heal from those events. So if you're able to ask my spirit guides, I would love to hear what you have to say. So thank you very much and keep up the good work. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, Kelly, thank you very much for your lovely message. I'm so glad you like my content. That's made my day. Let me just have a look. I am pulling you some cards. Interestingly, you've got 2 queens. So let me have a look. You have got the Queen of Cups, which is psychic insights, but also forgetting to take care of yourself, trusting your intuition. You have got the Queen of Coin, which is about being practical and taking a sensible approach to things. And then you've got the 10 of Cups, which is all about happily ever after. So first things first that I'm getting with this, Kelly, is that for now, I don't think you're going to get the closure that you want. What you're looking for is too tidy for a spiritual lesson. And I know that's an irritating thing to say, but that is the message I'm getting. It feels like you are almost holding yourself back from your happily ever after, from the good times, because you are wanting this box ticked, you're wanting the finality, you're wanting the finish, and spirit are making me feel that that is just simply not available at this time. So remembering that you are master of your own experience, remembering that you are in charge. There is a feeling here of wanting you to focus on the good. Don't look at the rain, look at the rainbow. And so what we want you to do is trust your intuition, which I believe has been calling you to just step away from that whole situation. Stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it, stop trying to resolve it. There is nothing that you can do at the moment that's going to give you that finality. And that's why you're struggling, because you're hoping it's going to come, but it's just not the time or the vibrational alignment to give you what it is that you want. And I have to be honest here, Kelly, and say it may never be. And so you're waiting for something that can't happen. It certainly can't happen at this time. And so Spirit really want you to focus and actively choose to focus on the things that bring you joy, the things that light you up, with also a real feeling here of your intuition. Once you stop focusing on that thing that is draining your energy and making you worry, there's going to be this just release of, actually, how do I choose happiness? How do I choose me? And this kind of expanse that you've almost been cutting yourself off of. I can feel this huge amount of energy, this huge space that is available for you to focus on your connection to spirit, to focus on your life and having more joy, more happiness. So I know that this is not the message you want. Isn't that the way it goes? But there is a feeling of just turning away from it at this time, not wanting that resolution. It's not going to come, and allowing yourself to move forward in spite of it. So what can you do today to bring joy into your life, happiness into your life, more connection to your intuition and more connection to spirit into your life? And what will bring you joy? And everything else, no space for it. I hope that this helps. I hope you've liked your message, even though it might not be what you wanted to hear. And fingers crossed on a very lovely summer and release and finding you again.
Hi, Hannah. Juan here in New York City. You know how much I love your podcast. I've told you that a million times over before, but I'll say it again. Love your podcast, a huge part of my life, my development journey. So thank you for what you're doing. And I love to hear every single episode that comes out because I am that crazy of a fan. So I have a question for you. I feel like I'm in a period of my development journey / practice as a medium, as a psychic medium, where it's so daily living kind of stuff to me. It's, how do I say that? I never cease to be amazed by spirit, and at the same time, I'm so used to it that I'm starting to feel like I'm taking it all for granted because it's so normalized for me now. And I've been practicing for 3 years. And 3 years ago is when I discovered that I have this ability, the way I believe everybody has this ability to different extents. And I've been developing in a circle ever since. And I have my readings that I do, and whether it's on social media or one-on-one, and I feel like I'm getting to this place right now where I'm almost unfazed by all the readings I'm doing and the experiences I'm having, even though in a single reading, an amazing thing can happen that blows me away as the reader, as the channeler, and maybe for the client too. And yet I step away and I think, oh, another day. And I'm a little concerned about that feeling because I don't want to take this for granted. But is there beauty in that? Is there beauty in it feeling so normal? Or does it mean that I'm ready for a next step in my development? I would love to hear your thoughts on that and whether you've also been in this kind of a spot before where you're almost surprised by how unfazed you are by it all and are wondering, should I be more enthusiastic? Not enthusiastic maybe, but should I be more excited or blown away? It doesn't mean I don't love what's happening right now. I do, but I'm getting used to it, and I don't want to get used to it. I never want to get used to it because it's it's so thrilling to me. So would love your thoughts on that. Thank you, Hannah.
Oh, Juan, my friend, love it. Love this question, because I've been in the same space and I get it. And I think it's natural when you work really, really hard with spirit and on your spiritual development. And I know that you are as passionate as I am about spirit work. You work really, really hard. You do it every day. And by default, it becomes less magical. And I don't think that that is necessarily a bad thing, although I do agree it is a sad thing. So if I could have any advice for myself going back in time, it would have been to have milked those early stages where there was such a strong presence when spirit came in. Did I milk that enough? Did I sit with it enough? Did I go, holy moly, I can feel spirit walking in. What the actual fuck? This is amazing. Or did I just go, okay, I think it's working now, and suck all of the magic out of the magic as I was getting the magic, and now there isn't magic, And so I think it's perfectly normal. But I do think you've answered your own question here whilst asking it, because I also want to say to you, it's time to expand. It's time to go bigger and bolder and brighter. It's time to take more uncomfortable situations so that you can prove to yourself that you can do things that you didn't think you could, because really that's where the magic is. I know it's the magic that's brought on by spirit, but it's also that pushing through of barriers, that pushing through of lack of self-belief. I can say this because I have just done this retreat, as I mentioned at the beginning, and I've come back and I am amazed that I managed to do it. I'm so proud of myself. So I'm back in the magic because I feel like I have seen with my own eyes in the last week how good my teaching is, because I have seen the difference that it made to people, and I have seen the change, because I had that longer period with people. So normally when you're teaching them online, you see them for 2 hours a week and then it's done. Whereas with this, I was immersed with them and I was part of their journey as they transformed from the teachings that I have got from spirit. And so the magic was back. So I think for you, it is an understanding that in your day-to-day work, it does become same old, but with love for it and wonder for it at the same time. But you can get used to wonder. I mean, if you rode a roller coaster, if you spent every single day at a theme park for a year, you'd be like, oh, I'm on a roller coaster. Ugh. Goes upside down. Oh, that bit was a bit scary. You'd become desensitized to it. And I think that's the normal part of the human condition. It doesn't mean the roller coaster isn't cool. It might be a sign for some people that it's time to take a break. For you, I feel like I want you to seek the next thrill. So whereas if you're bored of the roller coaster, it might be time to chuck yourself out of an aeroplane with a parachute. I think for you, Juan, this is that sign that it's time to expand. It's time to go further, take leaps, really push your progress into the next phase so that you can experience the wonder and the magic of your own growth. And it feels very, very exciting to me. Very exciting. So that would be my advice. I hope that makes sense. And it's such a weird thing because I completely get what you're trying to say, because on one hand you are like, oh my God, that piece of evidence was amazing. And then on the other hand, you're like, on to the next one. And that is kind of the business end of mediumship. And I think it's also a necessary part of it, because you can't let it override you when you're doing many readings. In a demonstration, if I have a very emotional first link, I can't let it wipe me out, because I've got another 8 to 10 to do after that. So I've got to hold my power and I've got to cut up myself off from it. And so therefore you've become more adept at holding that space to work, which means the impact on you is less, which means that it feels less magical. I hope that makes sense, and keep up the good work, you shiny, shiny thing, you.
Hi Hannah, it's Binky here. I wrote into the podcast a few weeks ago, and you replied to my question about kind of dark spirits and demons. Thank you so much for replying to my question. I loved hearing your thoughts on it. And I just thought I would reply as well with, what I thought of it. I find it really helpful to think along those lines. Like, I know you mentioned some people kind of want to believe the spooky stories. I'm the opposite. Like, I want to not believe them. Because like I said, I feel like it stops my connection, or my kind of movement towards more spiritual practices, because I'm scared. For example, like, I would love to explore astral projection, but I've heard stories of like people seeing demons climb into their bodies whilst the spirit is out of their body, and that's terrifying. So I kind of wouldn't explore it more because of that. And I just feel like I've heard so many stories of these kind of dark spirits. I do believe at the moment that they exist, but I would really like to not believe that. So I'm trying to take your advice and move in the direction that perhaps they don't exist. But right now I do feel that maybe it's connected to your vibration, and if you're of a higher vibration, you just kind of filter out those things, and if you are of a lower vibration, then you're more prone, or in a certain headspace, like anxiety or depression, or you're prone to that kind of thinking, that you're more likely to pick up on those kinds of spirits, perhaps. And I guess my question off the back of all that is, there are still lessons to be learnt from these darker forces. Sometimes we need to be scared. Sometimes we need a kick up the bum. I know you told that story about the kind of Grim Reaper figure crawling through your window, and that triggered you to kind of change things for yourself. So I guess that sort of plays on my mind as well, is, if those things can also teach us something, perhaps it's about learning to not be afraid, and to just see the lessons rather than not believe. But I really don't know. I'm so in the middle. And I would love to just completely not believe that they exist. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm so new to all of this stuff. I signed up for the spiritual school recently, so I'm really excited to come to some of the online talks and things for that. I've just been like inhaling the videos. So I don't really know what I'm talking about, because I'm so new to it all, but those are my thoughts. And thank you so much. I hope this isn't too rambly. But thank you so much for the podcast. I love it.
Hi, Binky. Thank you for your message. I think it's just a bit of a journey that we all have to go on. But the first thing I want to say when I listen to your message is, if there are demons and they are climbing into people's bodies when they're astrally projecting, then what are they doing with them? Because is that person who's saying that, because I've never heard anyone say this, and these are my questions that I would ask them if someone ever said this to me. And if you are a listener and you have ever astrally projected and then you have seen a demon climb into your body, this is what I would like to know from you. And this is not being shady. I just genuinely want to know. How did you get it out? What did it do while it was in your body? What do you feel like its purpose was? Do you believe that spirit helped you to overcome that demon coming out of your body? And if spirit have the power to overcome a demon that climbs into your body, why would they let a demon climb into your body in the first place? And if you were a demon with demonic powers, what is the purpose of climbing into a body if you're not going to do anything? Or is there somebody out there that astrally projected, that went into a science lab and created COVID and gave it to a raccoon dog? And I know I'm being silly now, but like, I just really, like, we scare ourselves, but I also want to know what the purpose is. And if the purpose is climbing into, like, if a demon's there and it's like, I'm going to climb into a body now, well, what does it do in that body? Does it go visit a prostitute and go drinking at a bar? Does it go beat up an old lady? Like, I'm trying to think of demonic-y type things that demons would do. Or does it just sit in the body, and then the person who's astral planing, who's actually asleep and in that weird place where they're half aware that they're trying to astral plane, so their brain is making a projection, do they then come back and go, get out of my body? And the demon goes, oh, I was enjoying going through your back catalogue of memories of all the cringy things you did in your childhood. I just, and I know I'm being silly, but I'm also being serious. These are serious questions that I want to know. Like, this is what started it off for me, because I used to, when I first started, believe that demons could climb into dolls, until the thought just came into my head, which I'm sure was spirit, of, well, why? Why would they climb into a doll? What can they do from a doll? Is the doll serving a purpose? Do they, you know, all of those kind of things. And I still kind of stand by that. Like, what are they doing? Now, Binky, what might help you is to use a protection invocation, which is what I used to do when I first started working with spirit. So I would ask Archangel Michael, poor Archangel Michael, he's so overworked, but he is of infinite power and so will come in to protect me. And he used to put me in a golden dome of protection, and I used to breathe into that, and I used to feel completely safe. So my suggestion for you would be, start by feeling the safety that comes when you ask your spirit guides or Archangel Michael or your guardian angels to protect you, and just feel completely secure in that, Binky. Have some fun with it, play around with it, feel into it, see what it does to your aura, because spirit don't mind whether you need it or not, if that makes sense. They will bring that protection to make you feel safe so you can go on your unfoldment journey. I used protection invocations every time I worked with spirit for 4 years, I think. So you just set that intention. You say it out loud if you want to. You can say it in your head if you prefer. You know, I ask Archangel Michael to please come and protect my energy and this space so that I can only work with energies of the highest, purest vibrations. Done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. Now, I agree with you about lessons, but I do believe that I don't believe that dark energy is spirit, you see. I believe that dark energy is psychic, and we are calling it to ourselves through our filter of expectation. When I was in a bad place and I saw the Green Reaper, I was calling negativity to me, and I experienced that. I do not believe that the spirit world had a hand in that. I believe that I had a hand in that. And yes, I agree with you. It did show me that things needed to change, but I also knew that things needed to change anyway. I hadn't turned up to half my lectures. I was going to have to repeat a year. I'd drunk my entire student loan. I had no money left. I was really depressed and unhappy. So something would have been the straw that broke the camel's back anyway. So yes, I do think that is true. And then if you believe that darker forces are working to show you things, then you know that they are actually, surely, if you believe in dark forces and you believe that they are showing you things to help you on your journey with lessons, then surely they are working for the light anyway. And I do believe that it is the yin and the yang. You need the light, you need the dark. It's just that I believe that the humans are the dark. And to quote something that I heard Dolores Cannon say in 5 Lives Remembered, or actually Spirit say through Anita in 5 Lives Remembered, hell is here. It's in the physical. It's not a place that we go when we pass. It's not when we're in spirit form. It is here. So I hope that helps. But equally, Binky, you have to go on your own journey with it. And I would never be so bold as to say this is the only way. Because I know that when I believed in dark forces, I found evidence of them everywhere. And when I had to undo that, when Spirit wanted me to undo that, it took quite some undoing. And I was quite far along in my journey. I've been working with them for quite a few years, and it took them about 2 years to undo all of the teachings and belief systems within me. So meet yourself where you are and do what you need to do to manage that situation now. That's all you can do. And don't worry about it. Because if you've asked Spirit to protect you, then you can feel safe and know that they have. And that will give you the safety to be able to explore whatever it is you want to explore. But in honesty, if there were demons, I think they've got better things to do than climb into bodies that aren't moving and aren't doing anything. I hope that helps. And if you're hearing spooky noises in the background of this, it's that the school opposite me has let out for lunch break, and kids are really noisy these days. I sound like an old lady, but it's true. So it's not sound effects from Spirit if you're hearing screams. It's not the demons talking through the podcast. It's the very loud children across the road having a lovely time.
Hi Hannah, my name is Avril and I'm from Dublin. You've actually read out one of my emails maybe last year before. And I just listened to episode 110 and it just really resonated with me, the explanation of how Sarah had an experience when her father passed away. So I've been on my journey, my spiritual journey, for the last maybe 2 years, and I was in a spiritual circle, but it kind of ended before Christmas, and I haven't been linking back in with anyone else, but I kind of do mediumship on my own. Some friends ask me, and I do it very sporadically, now and again. Anyway, so my mum passed away very suddenly and tragically in January, and I just got a call to the Gardaí came and told me that my mum had passed suddenly. A neighbour had alerted them because she hadn't been seen 24 hours. My mum was like clockwork. When the curtains opened at a certain time, she swept the garden at a certain time. So we never got to say goodbye to our mum because it was so sudden, and the circumstances, we weren't able to see her. So obviously I'm still very much in my grief at the moment, and as is my sister. But a couple of months ago, I was in my Reiki master training, and I was having a session on the bed, and I had the most beautiful experience where my grandfather, my mother's mum, who I'd never met, I saw this image of my mum sitting in her chair, which is where she last was when she passed, and my grandfather, I could see myself as if I was him, walking into the sitting room, taking my mum by her two hands, lifting her from her chair, embracing her, and then walking her out of the house. And then the next vision I saw was my mum, her mum and dad, and her brothers that she's lost previously, all standing in a row and smiling at me. And it was just confirmation that they had been there when she passed. My mum was a very, very traditional Irish mammy, and when she lost her parents, she lost them when she was very young, and she missed them dearly. So it was really help for me to know that she wasn't on her own when she went. Her parents, her dad had come and he'd taken her over to the other side. And that's been a huge relief for me, because I've had a lot of guilt because I wasn't there when Mum passed, obviously. So yeah, I just, when I was inspired by, I think her name was Sarah in episode 110, and her story, it's quite similar, I think. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Hannah, thank you so much for all your podcasts. You just inspire me so much, and because I'm not in my circle anymore, the lady just stopped doing it for personal reasons. I go to you. You're my go-to now, the podcast, and I learned so much. All your lessons are so valid. I haven't joined your spiritual skill, but I am going to join very soon. So yeah, thank you so much. Just huge thanks. Also, Hannah, I was a winner of one of your beautiful spirit paintings there as well before Christmas. So yeah, I've been very lucky to be able to have a connection with you a couple of times already. So yeah, thank you very much. Take care. Bye.
Dear Avril, thank you for sharing that beautiful story. That's so very moving and so absolutely incredible. And I know that will mean a lot to all the listeners who get to hear it, because by sharing our stories, we help everybody to understand how spirit work, and we are truly never, ever alone. So that's absolutely just incredible. Thank you. And thank you to all of you that recorded a voice note for today. I am loving it. It is so exciting for me to be able to hear your voices. It just feels that little bit more interactive. But I've still got the podcast email open if you want to submit your questions that way. For now, questions submitted now will be answered in the season 4 in September, but doesn't mean you shouldn't send them in. Just get ahead of yourself of the game now. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that at the moment of recording this, overnight, I hit 200,000 downloads of this podcast, which is just absolutely incredibly mind-blowing to me, and I am so grateful. So thank you all for the questions, the reviews, the shares, the comments on social media, the collaborations, because I couldn't have done it without you, and I cannot wait to see what the next season brings. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch up with you on Thursday.